If I explained this headquarters with the team and everything we're doing 3-4 years ago, no one would understand.
Yeah.
So I had to do it. So I said, okay, I'll show you. I'll make you guys understand. Something in the light where, how can I get value out of this? And then Anth would look at things like, how can I get money out of this? And Gymshark reached out to us, right? So they reached out to us because they needed an agency to work with in Canada. And we were making the most noise, bro. That was it. We were showing, I know this person. This kid's got something to him. 100 followers, bro. Signed. So you never know. Just put yourself out there.
You're just pulling out things that I just normally don't say.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be transparent here. And I hope, a couple people can learn from this.
The bigger you get, the more people that know you, the more love you'll get, but also the more hate.
Of course.
You look at, Elon Musk, most loved, but also most hated. Donald Trump, Andrew Tate, Putin, the biggest people in the world. They have the most love, but they also have the most hate. So if you cannot handle more hate, you're not ready for growth.
Yeah.
If you can't handle negativity at the level you're at now, don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even bother.
Ernesto, so happy to be talking to you right now.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. It's been, I've been watching Money Buys Happiness for a long time, the podcast.
Okay.
And then I've seen it, just branch into Money Buys Happiness TV.
Mm-hmm.
Been so impressed, especially with all your guys' achievements, the people you've had on.
Mm-hmm.
David Grutman, John Shahidi, the Patrick Bet-David, the list goes on.
Yep.
Money Buys Happiness. You guys have amassed 1 billion views in the year of 2024, which is, I don't know if you guys heard that, 1 billion with a B. Mm-hmm. 2024 have just done so much, and you're the first of your kind to do it here in Toronto, Canada.
Yep.
So I'm like a little kid right now. I have so many questions, but
Cool.
I just want to start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I know Anthony's not here, but shout out to Anthony.
Big shout out to Anthony.
Big shout out, yeah. He's such a nice guy. When I was talking to him, I want to see, were you always entrepreneurial and creative minded like this? I mean, I know you got your degree in mechanical engineering back in college, but so were you always like a right brain and left brain, or how was it for you?
You know what it was? I grew up, with my grandparents, and my grandfather's a great entrepreneur. He's a great entrepreneur. He built an amazing business, and he's one of the first, if only in our family, to really do that, right? So I grew up around that spirit of like, oh, I'm in my family's office. My family has employees, and so you start to think about that stuff at a young age. And then as I progressed, I think being in sports really helped me become a leader and show me that I wanted to be a leader, right? I enjoyed it. So then you kind of mix that up, and I didn't like school that much. And you mentioned the degree. I actually didn't finish that degree. I actually dropped out. That degree I was getting for my family business. And then I kind of just said, you know what, this is not for me. I have this spirit about me where I'm a leader, and I think that I can influence others and impact others. So that's kind of how I started. I wouldn't say like, oh, like I'm a business guy first. I would say like I was introduced to being a leader first. And that kind of helped me, become a business leader, if that makes sense. But yeah, throughout the time, man, during school, I had 2 mobile apps. So I got to see that world, incubators and investors and angel investors and all that stuff at a young age, like 18, 19.
Wow.
I was in the IBM Incubator Center for one of our apps. And that really put me on a whole other level too, where I was just like, wow, you get to see things, right? And I think that the more you see at an earlier age, the more you'll know what you like and what you don't like. So I was exposed to a lot at a young age because I was just putting myself out there, So mobile apps came, and then the promotion came, like the hospitality industry. That was huge. And then we formed Neighbourhood. That was like, me and Anthony coming together finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much you just said right there. And I honestly could relate a lot to, I wasn't, I'm of Armenian descent. So,
Okay.
That immigrant mentality that we have to go to school. So I did do that too, but I really did not like school. I wasn't too good at it. I actually took geometry, embarrassingly enough, but I don't care anymore. I took it 3 times, and
By the third time, you're like, okay, I'm probably not good at this, or I got to stop doing this.
Right, I'm not, geometry and me, we don't get along. So
go.
third time's a charm, I passed it. So I definitely relate to that too. went to college. I did finish it, but I was just kind of like, man, this is so, it's just too mechanical.
Yep.
And I know you and Anthony got together, you formed Neighbourhood Creative, and it's just an amazing agency. And you guys put, how do I say it? Like, you have one foot in digital, but a lot of agencies only put their foot in the digital world.
Yep.
But what makes you guys different is you put your foot in the real world too.
Yeah.
And then you bring it together. Neighbourhood Creative, walk me through what made you and Anthony want to start it. I mean, I know there's a lot of experience behind it, but were you guys just, I don't know, hanging out, had an idea or something, or how did that come to be?
So we were hanging out a lot because we were promoting together earlier on. He came to me and I went to him too. And I was like, hey, like you're doing well with your special events. Let's team up. I'm doing special events. You're doing them. If you bring 1,000 people, I bring 1,000 people, double the people, bigger party. Let's go, right? So we started working together on that scale. And then Anthony actually brought it up because he just started noticing a lot of people would ask me for stuff. Like they would call me and say like, hey, you know a photographer. Hey, you know a videographer. Hey, you know someone that could do my website. Hey, you know someone that could do this, or a restaurant, whatever. And I was always helping them. I was helping them because, you know, I like to help people, but I also believe in good karma. So I was helping everyone. In return, I would, you know, hope that they would use my services after, which at the time was hospitality, which was nightlife.
Right.
And then Anthony saw this and he's like, yo, like you're so connected. You have all these connections that are helping other people. You're not charging them or anything. But I think like we have something here, right? And obviously marketing was something we were doing at that point for our events, for ourselves. So we started with marketing. He came and he's like, yo, we need to put something together. So we actually worked on the business plan for about a year before launching. And then we brought my sister in as a partner as well. And then eventually also Anthony's sister as a partner too. But yeah, we just, Anthony really saw the opportunity. I got to give it to him because he saw that opportunity to go further and start something bigger, right? And we were promoting. We didn't want to do that forever. So we were already thinking of like, yo, what's next, right?
Yeah, right.
So then Neighbourhood was formed about five and a half years ago. He came to me and like I said, he saw an opportunity and we put something together, and it wasn't easy, that's for sure. But we launched Neighbourhood at that point, right? While we were still promoting.
You know, it's just what I'm hearing now is from you and Anthony together is just assuredness, confidence, just an assertive attitude.
Yeah.
And I really admire that. I have my own takes on confidence. Like I really take a lot from, I don't know if you watch Alex Hermosi or anything. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, he's a G. He's a G.
He's the GOAT. Yeah. I really take it from him and his wife, Lila Hermosi.
Yep.
Me, naturally, I've never really been that confident of a person.
Okay.
But for me, when I step into something, I'm not confident. But when I just keep going, that's when I start figuring things out. And then the confidence kind of just starts coming in. I don't really believe in the shout affirmations because what did I do today? I got up and I got dressed. Big deal.
Yeah.
Would you guys have any take on self-assuredness, confidence? Because you don't just do this without a spine. You know you have to have a strong mentality. I can tell you guys have it. Were you always? Do you have that naturally? Or did it come into you as you got older?
I would say it's a mix of kind of like what you said, right? Once you start winning, and there's like some small wins, some big wins, you start getting a little bit more confidence, right? But again, I'll bring it back to like the people around me, right? Like Anthony instilled a lot of confidence in me. You know, my sister put a lot of confidence in me. Anthony's sister put a lot of confidence in me. And it's reciprocated back to them, right? So it's kind of like it's us against the world kind of thing, right? That's how we look at it, right? Where we are super confident because, you know, there are things that we said would come to fruition that did. So then the people around us start believing us more, right? And like you said, we're online, but we're very much part of reality.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And with that being said, there's things that happen to us that instill confidence. So us getting this headquarters, that instills confidence in everyone on this team, right? Us hitting milestones, anything really. Us experiencing any sort of growth, it keeps us confident. Now, you can't just be confident when you're growing though, you know, because everyone's happy when they're winning. Life's easy when you're winning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's who are you when you're losing? that's going to make the difference, right? Because again, let's say Neighbourhood 5.5 years, we didn't win for 5.5 years. We won for 2.5 years. But for 3 years, we were grinding, dude, because we went from promoting to owning a marketing agency. So you have to remember what outside people would think about that. After they saw me, chugging tequila for 8 years straight, now all of a sudden I'm saying, yo, let me market your business.
Yeah.
So that's not an easy thing to do.
Of course.
You're reinventing yourself. But with the online world and social media, you can reinvent yourself faster, right? Because I just went from not posting about clubs anymore to posting about all my clients and marketing and this and that. And then people just said, oh yeah, well, he's a marketer now. So you can really form your persona from your online marketing, right? I'm not saying fake it online. I'm saying go hard online, document everything, right? Because that's what people end up thinking about you, correct? So if you're, again, I always bring up this, this kind of theory, but if you were to post you cooking food every day, right, on Instagram,
Right.
within 3 weeks, I'm going to think you're a chef.
It's just natural, right?
It's just what you think.
Yeah,
Because that's what I saw. You post for 3 weeks and people online, this is where people, they think everyone remembers everything. No, it's a fresh day. Pretend no one remembers what you did yesterday. No one watched your story. No one watched your feed, and start again, right? Because how many followers do you have?
On Instagram,
Yeah.
or almost 900.
Okay,
like
so
that.
900. Do you think all 900 know what you do?
No, not
There
at all.
you go, right? So it's like people go and they say, I want 20K followers. But it's like, bro, you have 1,000
Right.
that don't even know what you do. That's crazy. So it's like if you had 1,000 people that actually bought your service or listened to your podcast, you would be happy with 1,000 followers. Trust me, right? Because that's a lot of people. So anyways, I think going back to it, you have to experience wins, but you also have to experience losses, and you have to put yourself around the right people that believe in you.
I love that.
That's
point.
where people, because
Yeah.
they're around people that none of them support them. Some people are around people that they don't have big dreams, and then they have big dreams, and they're like, well, like, how am I hanging around you?
Yeah.
You don't have big dreams. I have big dreams. And then they don't do anything about it.
So Ernesto, how do you know that someone is there to support you? Because he or she could say, yeah, Ernesto, I'm with you.
Yep.
But you're not going to know their true intention until, push comes to shove.
Yep.
How do you know when someone's really there to see you win versus when they're faking it?
Well, I mean, actions always speak louder than words,
Right.
So it's like you got to really watch how they act. And, if I was to credit myself with some sort of skill, it's to see people's genuine feelings towards something or towards me. So it's like, I can tell now. I've been around thousands of people all the time. And I think the nightlife side really helped me with that because I was around so many people, right? Connecting with people. And that helped me be able to read people better. Okay. So at this point in my life, I know how to read people really well. And sometimes if you're trying to find out if someone supports you, I actually posted this online the other day, but if you want to know if someone actually supports you genuinely, tell them a good piece of news about you. Tell them a win that you just experienced. Say something amazing just happened to you and watch their reaction. That's it. You'll know. You could see through people. We have a gut feeling. We have a conscious, like these things all help us when we're talking. It's energy, right? So it's like at the beginning of your journey, you might have to make some mistakes, might trust the wrong person, might, train an employee and they end up leaving a year later after you did so much for them. But that's life. You got to really be, and that goes into like personal development, okay? Because people aren't that aware in life, right? So I like to journal, I like to meditate, I like to do all that stuff because it helps me stay aware. Like I'm very aware of all the people around me, what's going on, all that stuff. And a lot of people don't have that awareness. So I think you need to test them. Actions over words always.
Yeah.
No matter what someone says, you still got to look at their actions. And you're going to have to live and learn through it, right? Like you're going to have to trust some people that you're going to maybe regret trusting, but that's part of life. Like you have to take the L, learn from it, say, okay, how come something went wrong with it? Where did I mess up? Because usually it's our fault. It's not the other person's fault. It's our fault for not seeing it. So we have to take some accountability, say, okay, I trusted this person. They screwed with me. Why did that happen? Okay, this happened. Okay, that was the red flag right there. Okay, I got to make sure that never happens again, right? And then you start, your trust becomes like this super rare thing, and that's good. It should be. You shouldn't just trust anyone.
I love that. I love all of it, but the last part really sticks with me because when I think of MBH, what I like about it is you guys aren't just, two arrogant guys saying, "Hey, look, we're the top dogs here." Like, you don't have that mentality because I've watched it again from its growing stages. I've watched you guys say there was times where it was very hard. We couldn't get people on.
Yep.
We would get people on that, it was just very hard. And we would take on anyone. Of course, they all have value. But what I mean is that it was struggling. It was a hard time.
Yeah.
And what I really appreciate about that is, unfortunately, a lot of times online is that people just want to portray the best thing going on. I see it a lot, but I see a lot of guys in business do it, unfortunately. But I really like guys that are transparent because for me to look at you and say, okay, Ernesto, he excelled in this, but he in this, and this.
Yep.
Guess what I'm going to relate more to? This part.
Of course.
And it gives me the confidence. Like when I'm watching your show, because man, believe me, there's sometimes that I'm like, I wake up with like an anxiety attack. I'm like, what the am I doing? I'm almost 30 years old. Yeah. I'm banking my money on something, that's when all your friends are getting married. Marriage is on your mind, slowly creeping in,
Yeah.
Things are coming. There's things hitting me from different angles. But what I want to let you know right in front of you is that you inspire people without even knowing it. You're not going to know you're in Canada, working, and there's some random guy in LA waking up. What the is going on? And then I see MBH. I'm like, no, keep going. Yeah. So you guys are inspiring people. It's awesome. And I want to know, no, of course. And what I really want to know is, through life experience, you're networking connoisseur is what I'd call you. What is one practical nugget you could give to people watching this? What's something they should do in marketing networking, when they're networking with someone, and maybe one thing they should stay away from in your experience?
The main thing that I used to build my network was be nice to everyone and treat everyone the same. That's the one thing, because you never know where someone's going to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
There's people I met 10 years ago that maybe they weren't crazy successful, but now they are, and they're still my friend. Or there's someone that, was just kind of written off. They said, oh, this person's just this, or he's just a busboy, or he's just a great friend of mine today, or a client today, or this, or a teammate today, right? So that made the difference for me a lot, because you had a lot of people in hospitality when I was networking that were driven by ego, right? So unless you're spending money, like, I don't want to talk to you. Unless you're a 10 out of 10 girl, I don't want to talk to you. Right. And I was the only guy saying, no, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. And then I ended up getting the masses, right? So when you're trying to network, be kind to everyone and treat everyone the same, because everyone is the same. And life is long. Life is not short. And things come around, right? So 100%. The way you treat someone one day, you might be on top of the world. They might be at the bottom, but things can change real fast, right? So I think being kind, right? And treat everyone the same.
Be kind, treat everyone the same.
Because that's what they want. That's what they want.
Right.
That's what people want. They know when you're treating them differently from someone else, right? People don't like that, right? So, and I think that goes into your point, right? When you're like, you guys are real, you guys are authentic. Yeah, it's because we're not short-term thinkers. When I was promoting, I'm like, yo, I might do this for another 10 years, or I might have other businesses. So everyone I meet today, they could come handy in 20 years. That's how I literally think. But you have a lot of people that think, oh, I'm only thinking about 2025. So that's when they start treating people differently that are different.
Right.
Oh, I only need you because I'm trying to get to here, and only you can help me. This person's not going to be able to help me. And then going back to the raw stuff where, me and Anthony don't just make it about us. It's because it's not just about us. We have a full team. Me and Anthony wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for our team. You know, my sister Anna, Anthony's sister Natasha, Jason, Nathan, Mateo. The list goes on. Ariana. Like, we have a rock star team.
They were so kind to me too. They just,
Of course, right? But again, because that's part of our culture.
Right.
Be nice and treat everyone the same.
Right.
So it's not just about us. And I think a lot of people you do see on YouTube, it is just about them, right? Where if you look at me and Anthony, we're trying to build something bigger than that, bigger than me, bigger than him, bigger than money buys happiness, right? So we're in a whole different headspace. So the way we treat people is for long-term purposes, and the way that we create brands, create content, it's long-term. We're not going anywhere, right? So and being through it for 3-4 years showed us that you do have to be long-term, because from the time we started our podcast, there's been thousands of podcasts to start and stop in between till today. So long-term. That's why we don't go for big guests, because that runs out. And we know podcasts that's happened to, right? But for us, it's a long-term play. And it's to impact not only my life, not only Anthony's, but our teams, our families. Like, that's our drive. It's not just about, how many followers can Ernesto get? How big can Anthony get? We don't care about that.
Yeah. No, and again, this just goes back to the things you're saying. Be kind.
Yeah.
First.
Of course.
Treat everyone the same.
Yep.
This creates trust and market transparency, in my opinion. For example, literally, when you brought out in me, because I was doing a podcast a while ago,
okay,
and I cut it out, to be honest with you. Me failing geometry, I wouldn't say that on camera, because I'm like, people are gonna think I'm so dumb. And I've always had that like mentality of, I don't want people to think I'm stupid, because I grew up thinking I'm not that intelligent.
Okay.
But this kindness, treating everyone the same, that it's literally an example now that you took it out of me, and I don't even feel weird to say it.
Why
so it's like
you,
this.
why, that's
go ahead.
That's the stuff you're gonna relate most with people.
Right.
It's not even your wins. The wins, they're gonna be inspired.
Right.
But sometimes with the wins, when it's too big, it's like, like I can't even relate to that big win.
Yeah.
Like, so it's actually better to talk about your losses.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, nobody's perfect. If you think it's all rainbows and sunshines to get to a point like this, you don't know anything, right? Because like I said, if it's a 5-year journey me and Anthony are on right now, 4 years was grinding. 1 year was like, wow. That's the ratio.
Right.
And you tell someone that, right? You say, yo, you want to be an entrepreneur? You want to do this? Okay, for 10 years, you're going to have to go hard. And it might only be sunshines for 2 of the years. And then they say, no, never mind, right? So I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if I answered your question. Did I?
No, absolutely, you did. And just to add on to that, so how do you push through what I mean? It's two-part thing. You have people in your community, as much as, how do I say this? No, give me 1 second.
Okay.
I want to really think about it.
Okay.
How do you push through you being at a family gathering or your friends? Hey man, I'm working here. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm with her. I'm getting married to her. And then you're sitting there. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm grinding. I have the fire in my belly and I'm going, but you can't see it right now because I don't have the results to show yet. How do you fight through that? And what has been your biggest failure? If you don't mind sharing.
Of course. Okay, so the first question, like getting past you being in the growth stage and not many people understanding, is that what you're saying?
And the judgment.
And the judgment, family, friends.
Yes, exactly.
You have to remember something, bro, and this is something that I thankfully understood early. Nobody's going to understand what's in your head. Nobody's going to understand the goals that you have. And if you have a certain goal, let's say, or let's say you have a certain dream for the next 10 years and you write it down. Now write it down. Now read it from a third person angle. And you're going to be like, wow, this guy's, there's no way.
Yeah.
Right?
I say that to myself.
So I wouldn't even take it personal, right? Because when it comes to family, they're looking out for your best interests, right? And it's funny how that goes usually, because I went through both phases. I went through, people not understanding me to people understanding me a lot now, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen both sides. So when I was in the first side where it's like, you have your cousin's in university and this person's getting married and then this person's talking about their beautiful, nice job and they're making so much. They bought a new house and then you're over there like, yeah, I do a podcast and I'm trying to, I'm going to be next Joe Rogan. It's tough, right? But again, I use that as fuel. That's the difference between me and someone else, right? Where I look at that and I'm like, okay, cool. You don't believe I'm going to do that? All right, I'll show you. So I'm like very aggressive with my goals, right? Like, and I'll take anything as fuel, bro. I'll take anything.
I could tell. Yeah.
Anything, because I want it. I want more fuel. So it's like, if someone doesn't believe in me, first of all, it's understandable because if I was an outside person, I don't think I would believe in me either. But number two, it's kind of like put that chip on your shoulder and say, no, I'm going to show you guys, even if it's a little win at a time. And that's what ends up happening. You start winning a little bit at a time, and then you have something to show for it. Where maybe 6 years ago when I was with a family function, it was very hard for me because I'm like, what am I doing? Right. But now it's a good time, right? Because now the conversations are about me and they're asking me this and that. It's a tough thing to get through. But here's the thing about the journey. You have to do it whether people believe in you or not. So whether you have a 1,000% belief or 0% belief from other people, you have to do it, right? Because it's in your it's in your gut, it's in your head. No one's gonna do it for you. No one knows how you want to do it. If I explained this headquarters with the team and everything we're doing 3-4 years ago, no one would understand.
Yeah.
So I had to do it. So I said, okay, I'll show you. I'll make you guys understand. And again, going back to it, that's when you use social media. That's when you use all these things to show that you're winning. Show the losses too, but show the wins, right? You have to, because then people associate your online presence with your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to know about what your life is based on social media, not from, us talking once in a while. Right? So use it as a fire. Say, I'm about to prove these people wrong. But you have to remember, just like you're in that position, anyone that's hyper successful was in that position that no one understood what they wanted to do. Everybody. Take it from me where we sat down with 300 plus people now. And they all had to believe in themselves. No one's going to just believe in you and come to you and say, hey, bro, like, I see something special in you. Let me help you. It's not a fairy tale, bro. They're not going to do that. You might get lucky once in a while, like we did with Full Send. That was help. That was help we didn't expect, but we worked hard for it, right? So it's tough. You got to have a strong mind and thick skin. You got to go into entrepreneurship knowing no one's going to understand what I'm doing.
Strong mind and thick skin. Strong mind and thick skin.
You need that. You need that because, again, I say this all the time. Like, when it was coming to business, I wasn't taking business advice from my mom. I wasn't, because my mom doesn't know business. She doesn't know the things that are in my head. She doesn't know the world in 2025. So you have to be careful who you ask advice from too. Like, don't just get advice from everyone. Some people are not in the same position as you or in the same generation as you or in the same headspace as you.
Do you think that could be dangerous if you get advice from the wrong people?
Well, what about you? Like, what about if you got advice from someone that said, stop your podcast, and you listened, and you don't know the doors that could have opened in the next 2 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like you got that advice from one person that maybe you trust a little bit and they have a little bit of success, but are they doing the exact thing that you want to do? No. Right? So it's like when we started, we were doing something very innovative. Right? We started with a podcast, which at that point was like, whoa, that's a podcast, sick. Yeah. Then we went and started a media network. Like, there's no recipe to that. We made it up. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, only you know what you want to see come to life. And if I left my dreams in the hands of anyone else, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. That's the fact, right? But I made hard decisions. I said, I don't want to do this job. I don't want to be in this circle of friends. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be like this kind of guy. And I took it all on myself because no one's going to help you, bro.
Yeah.
That's the fact.
100%.
Especially as a man today.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? And if you get to 40, 50 years old and you're unsuccessful, no one's going to feel bad. You're a man. You should have done the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, a female or a kid or a dog, you feel bad. I wish things were better for
Right.
you. A guy, a dude, no one gives a
Right.
You get 45 years old and you're worth no money, you have no business, you have no one gives a You should have
Right.
done better, bro. So you got to think about those things.
Right.
Always, right? And that's what drives me every day. All this kind of fuel, right? And the more that you prove to people that you can win when you say it, the less that they have those doubts. Now, after 5 years of me and Anthony saying, hey, we're going to do this and win, and then we do it. Hey, we're going to do this and win, and then we do it. Oh, no one really doubts us anymore. They just say, these guys are probably going to do it if they're saying that.
Yeah.
Right? But again, I don't base whether I'm going to do it based on them having faith in me or not. It's just based on me.
Because let's say, for example, you did take in the criticism and let's say you just took it all in like a sponge.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you would blame you could blame others. And, my mom said this, my girlfriend said that, my, best friend from high school or college said this. But if you go with what they're saying, you blame them, it's not really them.
Well,
it's you, because you have the decision.
If you turn 40 years old
Yeah.
and you tell me, bro, I'm not successful because my mom told me to do something else, and you're 40, bro, you're a man, bro. How did you put yourself in that position?
Yeah.
That's what I'm really saying now, where it's like, dude, like, and you see it. You can see older men that maybe, are homeless or that no one gives a f them.
Yeah.
No one gives a You should have done better, bro. You're
Yeah.
a man. You had all the opportunity. You had all this. You're a man. You could do this. You should have been better, right? So it's like the way I make decisions, my gut comes first. So the feeling I have in my gut, that's going to make the decision for me. Most likely. That's number one at the top.
Number one.
Under that comes my family. Now, I'm not asking them to make the decision. I just want some feedback. I just want to hear what they say because I might get some fuel out of it, right? I might get some faith, but I might get some fuel. Okay, cool. Now let me ask my team, my friends. Again, I just want some feedback. I'm not going to use it. I might not. But the final decision comes from my gut. That's it. Right here. You feel it. When you're making a decision, you feel it right here. You're like, oh man, I got to do this. I got to do this. Who else is going to feel that in here for you? Only you, bro. Right? So you have to follow your gut. You have to. Your intuition. We're one of the only species in the world with intuition. That's crazy. Intuition, that means that you can kind of tell the future or feel something in the future. That's crazy. So anytime I make a decision, my gut, because guess what? When I make the decision based on my gut, it's my fault, whether it goes well or not. I can't blame my mom. I can't blame this guy. I can't blame this guy. It's on me, right? But people like to make decisions based on other people's opinions so that they don't have to be accountable anymore. Well, that's not my fault. They told me to do that. Come on. That's not how you win.
So they don't have to be accountable anymore, right?
That's
Is
why
that
if
what you're
I'm-
saying?
There you go. If
Yeah.
I'm making a decision, I'm making sure I want that decision.
Right,
If
right.
I'm making a decision based on someone else, then I can easily say, well, it was that, oh my God, it was that person. They told me to do it. But again, go back to it. Let's put yourself 10, 15 years from now. You're 40 years old. You think anyone gives when you're not successful?
Especially as a man, yes.
Especially as a man, after you let other people make decisions
Yeah.
for you and influence you and do this, and you didn't
100%.
follow your gut. Come on, bro. So when you make decisions, follow your gut first, everything else second. Everything else is bonus, right? Don't let that extra stuff be make or break for you. Let it be feedback, right? Because you might find some fuel in there too, like I said.
What is interesting to me, and I'd love your take on this too. For me, I honestly I do agree with you that for men, people just really
care.
it is they don't really care.
Why
yet.
would they? Why would they?
They really don't care, right? And I honestly do agree with you.
Yeah.
I think there's something special. And shout out to my friend Sam Lacrosse. He talks about this too.
Sick.
Something special about the ages of 25 to 30 years old. When I was around that age, like 25, of course, I always knew what we're talking about, but it really started solidifying with me in 25. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to live forever.
I know.
just because I'm 27, turning 28 next month, just because I'm almost 28, what does that mean? I'm going to live till I'm 90? No.
Yeah.
I could be dead at 32, God forbid, but it could happen.
Of course. With anyone.
Anyone, yeah. So that's when I really started sitting and we at a man around 25 years old that you need to get up, get after it, go.
Yeah.
That's when it really sat in me.
And why did it hit you at that point? Like, why? Was there
At 20, around 25.
was there something that happened?
Honestly, I'm just gonna be completely transparent.
Yeah.
That's when I got diagnosed properly with ADHD.
Okay.
And I know there's a lot of opinions that some people don't see it as a valid condition, but when I got diagnosed and they showed me how to properly function with ADHD, my productivity skyrocketed.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's a blessing then, bro.
Yeah.
Those things are usually a blessing.
Yeah.
Like when something happens like that, a health scare, you know, you get a bad breakup, you know, someone dies in your family.
Yeah.
Like, this is your opportunity to change right now.
Yeah.
And people look at it like it's the end of their life. When it's like, bro, those times are usually the start of something brand new for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you take it the right way, which you did, right? You said, okay, diagnosed with this, but you know what? Show me exactly how to be more productive, even with this diagnosis. Oh, you took accountability. You didn't just go cry and say, oh, I have ADHD, I can't do this. How am I ever gonna have a podcast with ADHD? How am I gonna? You didn't do that, which a lot of people do,
Yeah.
right? So good on you for that. But again,
Thank you,
you
brother.
found that fuel.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was your fuel. That's you saying, you know what? That's my fuel to keep going now.
Yeah.
Right? Because I had a little bit of a, let's say, a scare, and now I value life more. Maybe that's just it. And now you want to follow your dreams because you realize life is precious.
Yeah.
Or you get a bad breakup and the girl says, bro, you suck. Like, you're never going to be nothing in your life. And you take that and you say, what? And you blow up.
Yeah.
Anything. That's why those are the best moments for me. When stuff is going wrong, I'm looking around and I'm saying, oh my God, if I take this on properly, this could actually be either a huge learning lesson or actually pivot us in another direction.
Right.
Right? So those bad moments are actually the best moments because that's when you learn, bro. You learn a lot and you take accountability.
And you know, Anthony, in transparency, I honestly, you have like this gift of, I've barely seen this. You literally, and I'm not just saying it to like be nice or whatever.
Yeah.
You're just pulling out things that I just normally don't say.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be transparent here. And I hope, you know, a couple of people can learn from this. It was the ADHD thing. It was a very pretty bad breakup that happened. There was, you know, just a lot of bad things that happened in that relationship. And then thirdly, it was understanding that Jesus Christ is my savior.
There you go.
Because I started going to church after not believing for a very long time.
Yep.
And then I started looking into Christ and the person of Jesus and the evidence of him dying and resurrecting. And I think really God put me at whatever the ground is, even lower than that,
Good.
to understand that Jesus is my savior. So a lot of things happen, and I do think God played a part in that so I could, you know, submit my life to Christ with the breakup as well and the ADHD diagnosis. So I really do think that those things formed inside of me to make me a better man.
You need that, bro.
You need it, yeah.
You need those
Especially
moments,
a young man.
right? Like,
Yeah.
dude, like why I started entrepreneurship was a breakup too. It was the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and people were looking at me like, yo, this guy's working so hard. What happened? Did like someone kill his whole family? Like this guy's going on.
Right.
But it was just a breakup. But I took that and I said, yo, let me use this right now because it's pissing me off. Right? And that's good. Let it piss you off. And bro, that might have happened, you know, 10, 11 years ago. And it still pisses me off to this day. And I still use it. Right? But you need to use those moments, man. Right? Like, I don't give a if you end up being so successful because you wanted to prove your ex-girlfriend wrong. Good. Let that be your thing. I don't care if you want to prove your doctor wrong that said, bro, you have ADHD, you won't be able to be on camera. Prove him wrong. So it's like, use that as fuel, right? Which I think you're doing. And I think a lot more men nowadays are doing it. But both people, men and female, they can get this fuel from little things in life. Sometimes it's big things, but I'm a big believer in that, right? So
I could tell, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of like want that fuel nonstop, right? So it's like you don't ever want to be in a place where everyone around you is like a yes man. Like, yes, Ernesto, yes, Ernesto, yes, 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 yes. Because that means that there's no growth happening anymore, right? So you got to put yourself in a position where, bro, it's literally on you. It's on you to find that fuel. It's not, if I don't have fuel, what is my team going to do?
They're not going to keep going because you don't have the fuel. It's like a car. Right.
Sometimes you need a refill. And it's
Right.
okay if something bad happens. Usually when you get a refill on that fuel from the man up top, it's because he knows you need a refill.
Right.
He's like, oh, you're slacking? Let me make you make a hard decision right now. Right? So, yeah, man. I think you have to have that fuel.
So you mentioned the man ups. Do you have belief in God?
Yeah, I'm God-fearing, bro.
Yeah.
I'm God. When you become God-fearing, you're not scared of anything else.
Yeah.
I'm scared of God, bro. That's it.
And it gives you, honestly...
And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's like I'm scared of, oh my God, don't.
Right, right.
But I'm saying like I only fear God.
Right. No, of course. And it gives you a certain type of confidence. It's like, you know, if I believe in God, the greatest entity I believe in, why am I going to be scared of
That's what I'm saying.
this guy or that guy or this girl or whatever?
Why are you going to be, nervous to send this message? Why are you scared about what this person's going to think about that Instagram reel?
Who
Why do you care?
cares?
Who cares? Like that's nothing.
Who gives a shit?
Right?
Yeah.
And like people need to get out of their own heads with that stuff because again, no one cares. You might post something today. I already forgot about it the next day. It's okay. Keep going. Keep pushing. Right? So I agree with you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And just to segue a little bit into, because I'm really impressed with the bare bones of what you and Anthony do with the MBH network, the podcast, all of it. Through watching your interviews, I understand there's other people that get millions and millions and millions of views and subscribers and whatever. But with you guys, you have amazing views and you have an amazing family you built. But what you understand is if you compare yourselves to, no, hold on.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is basically you understand how to run your podcast as a business. That's what I'm trying to say.
Of course.
Where do you acquire that type of business acumen? Because a lot of people that are in the podcasting space, they kind of don't know how to run it as a business, me included, honestly.
Of course.
Where do you get that type of understanding from?
Like I think once me and Anthony started Neighborhood, we started looking at things in a different light, So once the podcast hit, and we didn't make it really a business right away, I would say after, the signing with Full Send, and then after that it really became more of a business. But to be fair, like me and Anthony are business guys, right? Like we started, like I said, I have my background, he has his.
Right.
But I've always looked at something in the light where how can I get value out of this? And then Anth would look at things like how can I get money out of this? So with those two mindsets behind it, you're kind of like, oh, this is a business, right? So Anth's looking at it like, okay, like how can we make more money off this podcast? I'm looking at it like, how can we keep growing it? And then we're like, oh, this is actually just a business, right? Because, and again, going back to it with the short term versus long term, we are always long term if we do something. So I'm like, okay, if this is long term, then it's more than just a podcast. It is a business.
Of course.
Right? Okay, now we're making money. We're making good money. This is a business. So looking at things from that, because I'm not a creator. I'm a businessman. And I think people don't know that really because they just know me mostly from the pod.
I mean, I think you're selling yourself short. I think you're a creator. I think you're both, honestly.
Of course, sure. But like the way I look at myself, I think is like, I'm more on the business side. Me and Anthony, right? Both of us. Because like we have the pod, but we have other businesses. We have a lot of other stuff going on. And I think when you look at things that way, and we actually now have all our talent that we're signing, looking at it that way too. So they become a business owner. They own a piece of their show. Because that's when there's more growth to it. If I just think it's a podcast, I'm going to treat it like just a podcast. But if I look at it like a corporation, now I'm going to treat it like a corporation. And that's the difference between a lot of people. I think, it's not that they sell themselves short, but they don't understand the magnitude of what they even have, right? So it's like what you were trying to say, I think, was like there's other pods out there that are much bigger than ours.
Yeah.
But we have a different structure.
Yes.
Yes,
exactly.
There's pods that are 10 times bigger, but we might make more money than them, right? Because we have a whole different approach to it, right? We have a media network, but we also have a marketing agency. So now I can use that marketing agency to help my podcast and my network. Maybe there's a client in my agency that's going to be a sponsor. I look at things differently, right? So you're only going to get out of something the way, let me put this in a better way.
Of course.
The way you look at something will determine what you get out of it.
The way you look at something will determine what you get out of it.
If I look at my podcast as just another podcast, that's what it's going to be. But if I look at my podcast and say, look at this thing, bro. MBH, Money Buys Happiness, what a name. Look at the guests we've had. This is a corp. Now I'm treating it completely differently. Just like that, just with one thought, right? So everyone's got to look at it that way because you don't need 100,000 subscribers to make money off a podcast. You don't need 50,000 subscribers to get value out of your podcast. Bro, we had a podcast, the first 100 episodes of Money Buys Happiness before we got signed. We weren't making money. We were getting 100 views, but we still saw benefits. We were networking with people. Now this guest became my friend. This guest became my client. So it didn't matter about the views to us. We're like, oh, this is working. So I think a lot of people get up and they say like, oh man, like I don't have enough views. And bro, podcasts all have different purposes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you can have a podcast for your law firm, right? And if 100 people are watching every episode, that's 100 potential clients. That's what they want. The law firm's not trying to be the next Mr. Beast, right? So it's like, have purpose behind everything you do, right? So it's like, you want to start a podcast? Okay, what's the purpose? Don't fall into the trap of saying, I want to be a YouTuber millionaire. No. Pretend you're not going to make money from sponsorship and stuff like that. What other benefits can you get from it? Become a better speaker, network, get better on camera, make more content for your personal brand. Those are the things, right? So I think, like I said, you're only going to get out of it the way you look at it, right? So it's like, I look at the podcast as a corp. I don't look at it as just like a podcast. That's the honest truth. And that's everything we do, right? That's Neighborhood. That's our online community with the Wealth Club. We look at everything like that.
Yeah. So just Neighborhood itself, it really impresses me. I mean, you've worked with big brands and Gymshark.
Yeah.
How did you guys get to work with Gymshark?
They reached out to us, bro.
Wow.
And here's the thing as an agency, is the thing that we did at the beginning and we still do today, right? When you're starting a business, you got to look around at all the other businesses in that space. So you're starting a marketing agency, look at all the marketing agencies in Toronto. What are they doing? And that's what I was doing, right? And I'm like, how come all these marketing agencies don't market themselves? Like they're marketing for their clients.
Yeah, that's so
Or they're
true.
saying like, oh, I do social media, but then you go to their socials and it sucks.
Yeah. Right.
And you're like, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So one of the things we did really well at Neighborhood, and shout out to the whole team, is we always made ourselves look bigger than we are. Always. Even if we were 3 people, you thought we were 30. When we were 10, you thought we were 40, right? We kept doing that through social media, through marketing. And you almost become this brand that people can't ignore and they can't stop seeing. So when they think marketing, they're like, those guys.
Yeah.
Go to them. And then you go to our Instagram, you go to our website, it's super impressive. So everything's ready. Our online resume, anyone wants to come see it, it's impressive. I'm very confident that we can land any client. When you do things that way, and when you push your strengths, this is another thing, okay? When it comes to Neighborhood, we know our strengths, okay? We don't pretend. We don't pretend we're the best at making websites. We don't pretend we're the best at PR. These are our strengths. Ready? Our network, our team, and our content. Those 3 things. No other agency has those 3 things the way we do.
Like your 3 pillars: stories, people, and places.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nobody has it like that. And so we went hard with that. Now other agencies working on of course, right? But we did that first. And again, we were very hard to ignore. And Gymshark reached out to us, right? So they reached out to us because they needed an agency to work with in Canada. And we were making the most noise, bro. That was it. We were showing, I know this person, and worked with Gymshark for like about a year. And it was amazing. It was amazing, bro. You know, got to see how a big company works like that. A lot of pressure, a lot of delivering, a lot of going above and beyond for clients like that. So yeah, it's you really, that's the power of social media. I got a client like Gymshark through social media.
Right.
When I was a promoter 2 years before drinking tequila.
Yeah.
But then I changed my online persona and then I got Gymshark within 2 years of our agency.
Which was, you found in 2019, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, guys.
Right?
I'm saying it's
so
incredible.
Gymshark, but then you got to use these things, right? We got Gymshark, but the whole world knew we had Gymshark. Everybody in Canada knew Neighbourhood got Gymshark.
Yeah.
Now look, what do you think that does to the other brands? They're like, oh, Gymshark's for them? Maybe we got to talk to them. Right? So you never know who's watching. That's like what you just said. It's the same with socials. Gymshark was watching our stuff. I had no idea. So, and sometimes you'll have no idea. Sometimes someone will reach out 2 years later. Say, by the way, you remember when you posted that like in 2018?
It's happened before, yeah. They come back, yeah.
Of course it comes back, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were doing work. You have to remember, like I say Gymshark and it was all, but we were working for clients for free at the beginning, bro. Like we would go to restaurants and say, yo, let me do your socials for 2 months for free. Let me do this for free. If someone paid us $1,000, bro, we would give them $10,000 worth. So we were going above and beyond at all times. But that's how some of the big clients were landed, right? And then us utilizing our personal brands, right? Me and Anthony. So that just helps the social media brand too, right? So it's like, there's not many agencies that have two like influencer owners in Canada. So we use our personal brand to build the agency.
Yeah, and you're really filling that market. You guys are aggressive and people are seeing it for sure.
Of course. But you always have to be real, man. Like during the pandemic, we were so vocal about politics. We were talking about all going on here. That's what blew us up.
Yeah, how do you find that type of courage? Because that's such a controversial
I was
thing
pissed
to get.
off. I was pissed off.
You were angry.
I had to close one of our restaurants. We had a restaurant we had to close.
Right.
Okay. Losing all our clients. Because we're marketing. Pandemic hits, every restaurant's like, bro, I'm closed. I don't need your marketing.
Right.
Start losing everything.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying? Dude, it was we were losing everything one by one. Right? So it's like you have no choice at that point. You know?
Anger drives change, it seems like.
Of course. Bro.
Yeah.
And that you know, during the pandemic, I'm one of those guys where it's like, if 10 people are in the room and they're all scared to say something, I'll say it. I'll just say it. So that's what I felt, right? And we lost business, we lost our restaurant, we lost all this, and we were being genuine about how angry we were. Now, a lot of people came to us and said, bro, I don't know if you should be saying that. You have a business, you're gonna lose clients, right? Yeah. I said, if someone has a problem with that, I don't want them to be my client. And what ended up happening is that we built so much trust from being real that we actually had more clients than ever. Wow.
So your fear didn't even come to fruition.
No. I didn't let it. It wasn't a thought in my mind. I put it in a like I just said, if a client doesn't want to work with me because I said that, I don't want to work with them. So there was nothing bad about what was happening anyways.
Yeah.
Right? And I was so confident in what I was saying that I was like, yeah, well, maybe you don't believe me now, but in 2 years you're going to believe me, and then what? Then what? Right? So again, you always have to, even if we were wrong about the things we were saying, we were being real, I would go back and say, well, I made a mistake. My bad, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to always stay true to yourself. Always. Because no one's going to come work with you because you have the best content creation. They're going to work with you because of you.
100%.
Right? And the bigger you get, the more people that know you, the more love you'll get, but also the more hate.
Of course.
You look at, Elon Musk, most loved, but also most hated. Donald Trump, Andrew Tate, Putin, the biggest people in the world. They have the most love, but they also have the most hate. So if you cannot handle more hate, you're not ready for growth.
Yeah.
If you can't handle negativity at the level you're at now, don't go there. Don't even bother. Right? I look at it like this. Every new 10 people I meet, every new 10 people that see me,
Right.
even if 3 out of 10 hate me, I still want that ratio to keep going because I want that 7 that love me. See what I'm saying? Where people go, I want 5 more people to see me, but I want them all to love me. Impossible.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, no, life is just not
Or
like
if they
that.
say, I want 5 more people to see me, and then 6 do, and then the 1 hater, oh, I'm never doing that again. Come on, man.
That's like saying you want to play basketball and every single time you shoot, every single time you want it to go
Or
in.
you want to play, center for your basketball team, but you don't want to get dunked on. It's going to
But
happen.
it's like, yeah.
It's going to happen, bro. You're going to face some guy who's going to dunk on you.
If you don't want that, don't be a center. Right.
The best centers in the world, they probably got dunked on the most.
Right.
Ratio-wise. Michael Jordan's shots take, you already know that whole stat. Of course. You're going to lose more than you win most of the time, bro. That's the honest truth. And these people that I even talk to and know, these hyper-successful people, bro, they lost most of the time. You just see them now when they're winning.
Yeah, what's the biggest thing you've learned from hyper successful people you've talked to? Is it what you just said? They've lost more times as they won, or is there some like
they have
wisdom or insight? Yeah,
They have like a very strong belief in themselves.
I see.
That's one thing that I've noticed. And another thing is like, they don't give a f people think. They don't give a. They're going to do something, whether you like it or not, and it's going to succeed. Like, they're so driven. And I'm talking to, like, sometimes they're like, they're 50 years old, 60 years old, and they're still driven.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, well, just chill. Like, you got 300 mil in the bank. Like, you're good, bro. It's a mindset.
Right.
It's a mindset, bro. And you see this with everyone, right? They're grinding till they're 90, but they're rich. What are you doing? Warren Buffett, he's still working. Oh, you're good. But it's purpose, and you need to have purpose.
Of course.
Right? Once you lose that purpose, dude, you're done. So to answer your question, I would say, they have a very strong belief in themselves, a belief so strong that you can't do nothing about it. You can't say nothing to them, they're going to have it. And second thing is, they don't give a fuck what outside people think. That's it. That's it, bro. If I was to add another thing, they're very picky about the people that they're around, which is fair. It's such a like a easy thing to understand. You are the average of the 5 people you're around.
Yeah.
It really
I
is,
agree.
bro.
Yeah.
You really are.
100%.
And the easiest way to understand that is like from a negative standpoint, right? If you're chilling with 4 drug dealers every day, you're going to be a drug dealer soon. Like, that's the easiest way to understand it from a bad side, right? Because people find it hard to relate to like, oh, well, if I'm with 5 millionaires, you're saying I'm going to be a millionaire?
Right.
I would say yes, eventually. But it's easier for people to understand the bad side of it, right? If you're with 4 homeless people, what are you going to become in a month? Homeless. Come on, right? Like, so it's like people need to be more accountable, man. And they'll come up with any excuse, my friend group, and bro, change it.
And you have the control.
It's all in you.
It's you.
That's
Change your friends.
That's the
Right.
accountability part. Where because people don't make decisions on their own, they're not even accountable. Well, I went to school because my mom wanted me to go to school. Well, tell your mom no next time, bro. Be a man. Let's go. Because then you're going to use that an excuse in 2 years from now, in 5 years from now, and you're going to use this and drag it on forever.
And you're going to hate your mom eventually.
Bro,
and you
I
don't
made-
want that. Yeah.
I made some very hard decisions in my life, bro.
Yeah.
And every time I made them, I was like, everyone's going to be pissed, but I have to do it. I'm not living my life pretending to make other people happy. So for example, I got a full scholarship to the US to play soccer in North Carolina. And, my whole family's happy. Everyone's happy. Look at this kid. He's going free school. Huge. I was like one of the first kids out of Ontario to get a full ride.
Wow.
And bro, I hated it. I was there and I hated it, and the second semester, I'm like, bro, I got to get out of here.
Wow.
I'm like, I can't stay here, bro. But look at the coaches that rely on me. Look at the players look at the friends that I've made. My mom and dad back home so proud. They're telling everyone I have a full ride. And think about that. And I still did it.
Wow.
And then I came back and I said, you know what? My bad. Now let me try your direction, which was go do engineering so you can work at our family company. Now I made another hard decision. I was in Ryerson, 6 months in. I said, I'm not doing this either. And I dropped out. So take that in.
Wow.
Double drop out. Come back home, say, actually, I don't want to work for the family company after I'm the only grandson there. So I'm the only guy that could take the company.
Right.
And I said, nah. So those decisions, then I go to York. I go to York to finish playing soccer there.
Yeah.
And something there happened to where I was on the soccer team and I just left the soccer team. I was like, I don't want to spend time doing it. I got to make money. I got to do it. I was making hard decisions that were putting me in positions where everyone was looking at me like, bro, what are you doing? But I still did it. My whole life would have changed if I just stayed in North Carolina for 4 years.
Yeah, it would have been totally different.
My whole life would have changed if I finished engineering and went to work at my family company, which I'm completely grateful for. But I just didn't want to do that. Bro, those are the hard decisions you make, man. Where it's like, I'm about to let everyone down because of what I want. And you have to do it. You have to do it.
You have to.
Because now I have conversations with my parents. You know what? You're smart that you came back home. You know what? It was better idea that you didn't finish engineering. Yeah, now it's easy to say that.
They say that now?
It's easy to say, of
Yeah.
course.
Oh,
right?
wow.
It's easy to say that now.
Wow.
But at that point, bro, I'm making decisions that, bro, I'm like 19, 20, 21, 22. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's very hard on a kid. I'm not going to lie. And I was away from home with nobody that I knew, right? So those are decisions that really made me, bro. You know, nowadays I make hard decisions, but they're easier to make. People understand them more. But at that point when you're a kid and you're like letting everyone down month after month,
The mental fortitude you have is just crazy.
I just couldn't do.
At that young of an age.
I just realized that, bro, if I don't do this now, I'm just going to be a pushover my whole life. I'm just going to do things to make other people happy, bro.
I love that.
And I hate that. If there's one thing I want anyone watching to not be, is a people pleaser at all times. Stop. You don't have to please everyone. Please yourself. That's it. Please yourself, man. You know, when you can please yourself and that pleases others, you're in the right place. Right now, I have companies. I have a beautiful team. I feel great, and everyone feels great too. Right? So, no excuses, bro. Just do it, man. You're gonna have to make hard decisions. That's all. Like, and when you make it, and then everything else comes into fruition, you realize you made the right decision, right? So when I left the States for a year, I was like, I do the right thing, man. Like, and you're second guessing yourself, and then a couple of years down the line, if I did stay, I wouldn't have had this company, or I wouldn't have met this person. It's okay. It was all good. Oh. It was all good, right? But if I didn't do it, and then when I'm, like I said, when I'm 40, well, I had to go to North Carolina for 4 years, and
no one gives a like
who the gonna care, bro? I was gonna say, buddy, go cry.
100%.
Right? So if you have big dreams, you're gonna have to really make decisions that only you understand at the point. That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
And everyone wants advice and everyone's feedback, and it's gonna be up to you. You really got to say, what's important to me right now in my life? Is this going to help me in the future? Let's go. And plus, me letting that many people down, that was fuel for me too, where it's like, I make up for this I just caused, right? Where it's like, I got to make up for this. I got to go even harder to show them that, I didn't do all that just to, work a normal job. I made those decisions to be someone special, someone big, right? So then I had to use that as fuel. So there's a lot of fuel happening for me, but I kind of initiated it, right? Where I'm like, this is going to piss people off.
Right.
Okay, let's do it.
To anyone that's, just to people watching this, if there's anything you could learn, I'm learning. If you guys could learn with me, if you guys are going through an inflection or whatever that you're facing hard decisions, just listen to what Ernesto's saying. It's hard. He didn't say it's easy. He didn't say it didn't worry him. He told me it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be easy. It is going to be hard.
Very difficult.
But go ahead and make that decision and make your life better. And I love that. I just want to segue into 2 more topics, and then I want to,
Anytime, take your time, bro. Take your time.
Absolutely. I just want to segue into, I know we mentioned full send a couple of times here. Yeah, and it is very impressive that you guys, pretty, I don't want to say early, but
It was pretty early.
pretty early. Yeah, pretty early along the.
It's like 60, 70 episodes in.
Yeah, it's like 70 episodes
Yeah.
in, which I would consider early. You got their attention, and you guys worked with them for a year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it was that got their attention? Do you think it was like the candidate that like what was that exactly?
So I think it was a mix of a few things.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, one, we were very early to having a podcast that was produced at a high level. So our production value like 4 years ago was the same it is today. Like it's crazy. Like you would watch them.
Yeah, it is.
Now you see podcast clips everywhere, right? So now it's kind of saturated. But we were like one of the first to do it in Canada. Then we had 905 Shooter on. And Kyle watched that episode. So I think what it was a mix of us being Canadian, they're Canadian, them seeing that we had a high production value with our pod. We were taking it serious.
Right.
We had big guests, even for a small pod. Like we were getting like as best as we could for that size. And I think he saw an opportunity there where he's like, okay, well, these guys are working hard. They're getting some guests. Like I'm going to assume they're going to keep growing. And maybe I can work with them to promote Happy Dad a little bit more and put them under my network. So I think originally they wanted to actually have like a media network where they have multiple shows.
Yeah.
Because that's how it started, right? Salim had a show, Steve had a show. They all had a podcast. So we were like, oh yeah, they're just building a network. But then also we were promoting Happy Dad. And like I said, we were Canadian. So I think the mix of us getting to the podcast world early, being one of the first to really splash it, being Canadian, being young guys, and honestly, probably the genuine side of it, like being raw, the way we were talking about, right? Where it's hard, even when I look for talent now, that's what I look for. I look for people that are not scared to say. So I think maybe they saw that as well. But again, they're so big, so their goals and their strategy, and they change a lot because they have so much stuff going on and they have big brands, right? So I think originally it was like, oh, let's build out a few shows, let's sign a few shows and get them repping Happy Dad, and let's keep building. But I think what ended up happening was like they adapted and said, okay, well, let's focus less on these shows and more just on, let's say, this type of content or this type of skit or this type of that, right? But we got their attention because we were saying shit that was on our mind. It was kind of outlandish at the time, high production, and good guests, calculated guests, right? Like 905. Like, yeah, of course we're gonna have 905. I know Full Send might see that. Why wouldn't you do that, right?
Of course.
It's like you having me on, I'm gonna post it, and now my network's gonna see it, right? So there was also some calculation to it. Not too much, because it was pretty random, but I think he just saw we're young Canadian kids with a pod talking. He thought we were very similar to them. For sure.
Yeah. The people you like the most is the ones that you could see a resemblance from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think he saw that. He related to us. And, for a guy like Kyle, he does want like mini hymns as much as possible because he wants to promote Full Send across the board.
Sure.
Right? It's not a bad thing. He's just like, yo, what other soldiers can I get?
Of course. Yeah.
Right? So we were his soldier, right? And we were completely fine with that. We were ecstatic to be a soldier. But I just think, as time went on, it was just difficult because they have different priorities, right? So, maybe we started the deal and we were top 5 priorities, but then, as time went on, they continued growing. Maybe we became 20th priority to 25th.
Yeah.
Again, we were so grateful the whole time. The whole time we were with them, so happy, so grateful, blessing. But again, we just wanted to, near the end of the deal, we were just like, yo, you know what? Like, I think we could do something special on our own, and me and Anth are not the type of guys anyways to be like under another brand. We want our own brand.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, that was sick. Let's talk to the boys. Let's just let them know like, hey, like all good. The 1 year was amazing. But we're going to go off and do our own thing. Appreciate you guys, all that stuff. Everything's civil. But again, I think that they had a goal when they signed us, but I think their goals just changed, which ended up making us kind of look at it and be like, okay, well, it's all good. We got what we needed. We just wanted the affiliation. Now we can use that to get guests and get bigger. Appreciate you guys. And then we had a conversation with Valuetainment after with Patrick Bet-David. And he was interested in the show as well. But I just said, it's still early. I want to build a real network, and then I'll sit down with guys like that and see if they want to buy us or anything like that.
Do you think you'll ever sit down with Valuetainment in the future?
Yeah, I'm going to set up a meeting actually this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're close with their team. Obviously, PVD is very busy. So we talk to the team a lot. They're in tune with us. And I love what Patrick did. I take a lot of inspiration as to what he's done.
Yeah.
I think he's a beast. I try to mimic a lot from PBD. His business style, his communication style. I think he's one of the best communicators right now in the world.
Definitely is,
Because it's very hard to be a political spokesperson and be able to respectfully talk about both sides. And he knows how to do that. And I really like that about him. Anyways, Full Send went well. Then we were talking to Valuetainment quickly, and then we're like, you know what? We'll recircle when we build this thing and talk more. So, yeah, that was pretty much it with Full Send. They the story of how they signed this is quite long. Anthony's spoken about it a bunch of times.
Yeah, right.
But it was super exciting, bro.
Yeah.
You know, what a dream. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to Kyle for making it happen. The whole team was super welcoming. John, Sam, Salim, Steiny, Steve, everybody. Sometimes, you just have to go your separate ways. It's all good. It's civil, right?
Yeah.
And that's something I wanted to make sure that we kept it civil. Because again, like I said, going back to it, be nice and treat everyone the same.
Right.
Even them, bro. From people with 2 million followers to people with 500 followers.
Right.
Everyone like that.
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
But it was a blessing, Full Send is obviously smashing it. I just think their focus right now is on Happy Dad, right? So it's fair. They want to go for a huge exit with Happy Dad. They will.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
will.
and Kyle has spoken about that a bunch of times. He wants to make his exit off
They
of
will. They will.
Yeah,
They
off
will.
of Happy Dad.
They're just too big to ignore.
Yeah, they are too big, and they're amazing just content creators and businessmen.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle, and I take a lot of inspiration from Kyle. Yeah. And what I really admired about, because the video why you guys left NELK, the video guys posted on YouTube, what I really admired about that when you and Anthony were talking about it was that you took the emotions out of the business.
You have to.
That's really something I took in from it. You and Anthony took the emotions out of the business when you were top priority to going lower. And then you guys understood it was like, okay, this is a respectful mutual split. And what I also really admired about your interview with Kyle is the readiness, urgency, and persistency you had. You guys reached out. It wasn't time yet. Kyle said, we're ready now. With swiftness, you guys went and interviewed him.
I gotta give credit to Anthony for that, straight up, because Anthony was communicating with Kyle, and bro, that guy was staying on him, bro.
Yeah, he was.
Ant would not let it slide.
Shout out to Anthony.
Right, so big shout out to Ant because he made that happen, bro.
Yeah.
He was in conversation with Kyle, and he really pushed it. He was a Full Send fan, right? Where I was not really. I was not too into that world. I was more like a Gary Vee fan, put it that way.
Yeah.
Right? So, and Anth was a Full Send fan. So once he had the conversation going, bro, he did not stop. And that's why I give him a lot of credit for everything we do, right? Because he's this guy will break through walls. He doesn't give a
yeah.
like
and he's a
fuck, bro. So. And you need that. You need someone like that.
Yeah.
And so credit to him because he made it happen with Kyle. He was in communication. He was not letting it slide. And he finally made it happen. I don't think it would have happened if Anth wasn't that persistent.
Yeah.
So, and he was looking at it that way, right? He's like, if I'm not persistent right now, what's going to happen in a couple of years? We're going to wish we would just send him another message. So I'm like, bro, go crazy, bro. Let's go.
This is what I'm saying, why you guys inspire people. What Anthony did actually inspired me to be persistent with you guys.
Good.
Because
it works.
Yeah.
Does it not work? It works, bro.
Yeah. I mean, a year ago when you guys saw my story, I was like over the moon. I'm like, okay, these guys that I watch actually went on their phones, clicked my profile and saw I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
To even get that attention, I'm like,
well, bro,
I was like,
we're like I said, we're like talent scouting.
Yeah.
So like we look at everything.
Yeah.
Bro. Like we're everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I'm glad. I'm glad that inspired you because
it was my first episode too.
Good.
Yeah.
Like one of the main reasons me and Anthony have our podcast is to inspire people.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons. Bro,
yeah.
Right. Because you know, there's people that have come to us the last couple of years and it's like, yo, I watched that one episode and you changed my whole life. You know, I did this after this. And if I can't even count on one hand, that happens all the time now. That's why we keep doing the pod, bro. You know, because there's no kind of fulfillment like that.
Yeah.
You know, and you never know who's watching, like we said, right? So, yeah.
Just to, I'd love to just tell you how much you've impacted me with how much I've just reached out and remained persistent. So it'd be awesome to tell you. So what happened was when I did post my first podcast on Instagram, you guys saw the story, and then I was just like taken aback, and I'm like, I enjoyed the moment, and then when you guys kept putting out videos, I left a comment, and I think I said something like, I'd love to interview you guys or something like that. Sick. And I'm like, man, these guys are just gonna see it, and you know, they'll appreciate it, but they're so busy. I wasn't really expecting much. I mean, I know how busy you guys are. And then 10, 20 minutes later, or however long it was, I can't remember, I get a notification on my phone. I'm like, what the I was like, what? He responded. Yeah. I look, he's like, he said something like, let's make it happen. And I was just like, wow, I was taken aback. From there, I go into the DMs, we talk a little bit, and it wasn't the right timing, I think. And then I was told to reach out again it was May or July, I think July of 2024. I reached out, and it wasn't, I didn't hear back, but again, no, like it's not an issue. I'm like, they're really busy. I don't even, like, I'm not owed anything. Yeah. I'm like, okay, they didn't reach back. Let me just keep trying. Yeah. I emailed 3 or 4 more times. Okay. And then I'm like, you know what? I just kind of want to let it go. I don't want to bother them. And then in February of 2025, I don't know what it was in me. I'm like, you know what? It's been a couple months. Let me just see. Like, what do I have to lose? Yeah. 30, 40 minutes later, Anthony emailed me back, and here we are. I was like, wow.
So that took what? That took
a year.
How many emails? How many texts?
Around 30.
Wow. See?
With the whole communication, everything. 30, 40.
And you nailed it, bro. Like, it's sometimes it's just timing.
Yeah.
We're not down. We're down.
No, of course.
And we're those guys. Like, we're I think between me and Anthony, we've been on so many pods. Like, we don't ever say no to a podcast. We love it because we were once in your position. Like, we were in that position before where we're like, yo, like, I want to be on your show, or I want to have you on my show. So we know how that feels, bro. You know? So, like, we always show love to anyone that wants to have it. Like, I'm honored to be here, bro. You know? So, like,
of course, happy to have you.
For me, that persistence always pays off. And that should be a sign for you to say, yeah, persistence does pay off.
Yeah.
You know? Because
really does.
I didn't even know you reached out that much. If I knew you reached out that much and we missed the opportunity, I would have felt bad for myself. Because I would have been like, oh, we missed an opportunity here. Because, bro, I look at everything as an opportunity. Whether you have 10,000 subs, 100,000, a million subs, it doesn't matter because you never know who's watching, bro.
Right.
Right? And like someone watching this, maybe I changed their life or they like my pod now. Or it's an opportunity.
Of course.
Right? So I'm happy you stayed persistent because persistence pays off.
Yeah.
Right? And you had that right mindset where a lot of people would have said, oh, they don't want to do it. Fine. But you kept going. You kept going, and you've actually found out, no, these guys actually didn't want to do it. It's just a timing thing.
Yeah, they're busy.
You know, Ant's traveling, I'm traveling, this is happening. And sometimes we're just like, we're very busy, where it's like our business is. So it's like, dude, we're always down. And that's for anyone watching this, like, be persistent, number one, you know, and give people the benefit of the doubt too. Not everything is a negative situation.
Yeah.
You know? If someone doesn't reply to you,
they're busy.
They're busy.
Yeah.
You know, that's the problem with today's world is that everyone's supposed to be working 24/7 now with this thing. Right? Think about it. It's like, yeah, I'll just reach out at 9 p.m. I'll reach out at 2 a.m. I'll reach out. But it's like, some people are just working sometimes and they're busy, right? So it's like, put yourself out there. Even if you wanted me on your show, Anthony on your show, anybody on your show, go crazy with it, right? Because real recognize real. That's a real thing, right? And when I see guys grinding it out, I love helping. I love.
Yeah.
There's nothing more fulfilling to me than doing that, you know? So I always wanted that when we started our pod. That's something I wanted. I wanted people to easily say yes to me and come on my show. I wanted these big people. So now that, it's a bit, the chairs have turned, I'm trying to help as many podcasts as I can now.
And I really thank you guys for like giving me the time of day.
But we're happy. We're happy to have, like, bro, when I heard you were coming in from the States, I was like, bro, let's do it. That shows me that you're serious. Right? And you have to be serious about your craft. So another piece of advice, whether you have 50 subs, 1,000 subs, 50,000 subs, move like a professional and move like you have passion for what you're doing. Because no one will care about the numbers. I wanted to just come and meet you. Like, really.
Wow.
So for me, it was like,
thank you, bro.
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast, but I'd rather meet you and talk about what you got going on and meet a new friend.
Right.
So for me, that's the part of it. And if someone gets inspired, that's a bonus, bro.
I'm honored, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to give a huge shout out to you, Anthony. I know, I'm sure you were busy, you couldn't be here, but we really want to thank you, man.
Of course.
For just the, of course, I thank Ernesto, but he's here. But to you, virtually, thank you, and just
big shout out to Anthony.
Big shout out, man.
And anyone
Anthony,
watching this, just make sure that you understand that Anthony is just as important as I am to what we got built.
Oh yeah.
Right? So, just know if he could have been here, he would be here and he'd be spitting game right now. Maybe you can have him on another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Ant for making this happen.
Yeah, huge shout out, Anthony. Thank you again, brother. I just want to wrap things up with one thing. Let me put out a scenario. Let's say there's a young 20-year-old guy watching this. He's lost. He doesn't have direction.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know what to do. What would you tell him?
Does he have money?
No.
Nothing.
20-year-old,
no money, no social media, I'm guessing, or a
social media,
but
yeah,
nothing, but just like
because to be practical about it, yeah, because most people have it. He has social media, no money, yeah,
you have to start figuring out what you enjoy doing, what you're good at, and stuff you're gonna have to get good at, right? Try things. You have to try things, bro. That's what I tell everyone. And especially with the online, like if I had Instagram when I was 20, I would have been testing out so many things, dude. I would have been like, yo, let me start a food series. Let me start doing this. Let me start a pod. Let me start this. And remember, when I'm saying these things, it doesn't cost money. As long as you have a phone, you have an iPhone, you're good, right? So it's like, I would start creating content and documenting the fact that I'm trying to figure out my career. That would be my first display of content. Right? Learning new things. Again, YouTube is like the best. I love YouTube, bro. And you can learn so much, but not only learn, you can actually, there's so many figures out there, right? So for example, how I knew I liked marketing and social media was from Gary Vee. I watched Gary Vee, said, but I have a knack for this too. I like the way he looks at it. I actually like this. Boom. Okay. I like social media. I like marketing, right? Okay, let's see if I like making content. Okay, put the camera out. Let's start talking. Let's do this. Let's do that. See if you like it. And also though, like that's like the way to cruise through it, but also start building up your skills. If I'm 20 years old, I'm really building up my AI skills right now. I'm learning about all the tools. Saying, okay, this tool does this. Let me learn about all these things because that's a great weapon to have on your side as a 20-year-old. Just in general, for any business you might start, right? So I would say go hard with learning new skills. And it can be, again, video editing. I think that's a good skill to have. I think knowing how to produce content and post on social media, I think that's a great skill to have. You don't need money to do any of this. And read a lot of books, man. Read a lot of books. Read books about people that you want to be like.
Is there one that really you recommend?
Man, the one book that I always say that changed my life is Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich.
By Napoleon Hill, right?
Napoleon Hill. Yeah. I've read it 5-6 times, but when I first read that book, my whole mindset changed. I had an awakening in my brain pretty much where it was like, oh, like I'm capable of anything.
Wow.
Think and Grow Rich. That's actually the first thing I would do. Before anything, read that book. Read it twice, actually. Read it first and then read it again and make notes. Think and Grow Rich is a cheat code to life. That book really is. Again, things don't cost money anymore. You can post on Instagram, it doesn't cost you money. Make content with your phone, doesn't cost you money. So I would put myself in a position where I start documenting who I am, building my personal brand while learning some skills, while trying some new things. And doors will open if you're using social media. Because a guy like me might see it. I might see it and say, oh, look at this kid. He's 20 years old. Oh, shit, he's posting about this. We just signed someone. They had 100 followers. 100 followers. And we signed them.
Like recently?
Recently, like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
100 followers, though. Wow. Guess what he was doing? He was just, he made a whole new account, posting like videos about food and unboxing and this and 100 followers. He follows me. I'm like, oh, this kid's got something to him. 100 followers, bro. Signed. So you never know. Just put yourself out there. That's like this kid. Like I'm talking about this guy. He didn't know I was gonna see him. He just like, yo, I like doing like cooking content, but let me just start a page and see what happens. And he followed me, and I'm just like, he caught me at a time where I was on my phone, and I'm like, who's this guy? And I clicked him, 100 followers, but I'm like, oh, but he has all this content. Oh, sick. He looks like a great talent. Maybe I can help him. And we signed him. You got to use social media, bro. You have to. And people need to stop making excuses. You just need this, man. That's it. You don't need these cameras, these lights. You don't need any of that. People want raw anyways, right? So, and here's another thing. This is more recent, I would say, though. But this is something that we're implementing with content series, okay? So, you know, influencers and podcasters and creators, they're the new rock stars, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in a position now where I'm just like, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, how can we become more rock star-ish? You know, how can we get out there more? So for example, podcast, that's a content series. You have a podcast going out every week. But now what you're seeing is different kind of content, right? So now you'll see, you know, maybe someone has a food series. Maybe someone has a fashion series outside of their podcast. Now these content series are coming to life because they're like mini TV shows. So now even I'm doing something, I'm doing espresso reviews. So I'm doing like Dave Portnoy pizza reviews, but for espresso. Anthony's going to be doing food. Why are we doing that? Because we need to appeal to more than one audience. If I post a podcast clip, only one side of my algorithm is going to get it. Okay. Right. If I post a food review, then a whole other algorithm is going to get it. Right?
Connect.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hit a bunch of different targets, right? So maybe I'll do a sports show. Maybe Anth will do a sports show. Maybe we'll do something about art. Maybe we'll do something about fashion. People are doing that now. So for you, for example, you could do something where every Friday you have a new series. Maybe it's like, you know, 60 seconds about this, right? Maybe a guy named Mike's watching this, right? And he's a construction worker, but he has a construction company. Maybe every Friday, 60 seconds with Mike, he's going over a new tool that he's using, how sick it is, where to buy it, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Sick. Now he's building out this content series, right? Yeah. Now on Fridays, he does that. Maybe now he's like, okay, Fridays, I'm good. Now Wednesdays, I'm going to do something that's client showcasing. So I'm going to go visit one of my clients and showcase their work. And all of a sudden, you're building these things, but it's showing what you like and it's reaching different audiences. It's cool. It's really cool, right? So with the way socials are now and the ease of making content, people are doing that a lot. And we're doing that with all our talent right now. You know, if you have a pod, that's cool, but you're also going to have this. You're also going to do this, right? Example, Tall Blonde is one of our shows. She has her podcast, but then she has a series called Read My DMs, where she reads her DMs out loud, and they're funny and they're ridiculous, right? But again, two separate pieces. Now she's growing twice as faster. So I would look at it that way. But again, free online, bro, start posting. Even with the Instagram algorithm, followers don't matter anymore. They don't matter. You can have, like I said, that guy with 100 followers, I caught him. I caught him on my page.
100 followers, guys. 100.
Wow. Right? And again, I saw him posting and I'm like, he's putting in the effort. He looks like he wants to take this serious. I didn't care about his followers. I was even more down that he was smaller because I'm like, I can help him at an earlier stage.
Wow.
So just start posting, man. That's it. Just start post like a crazy madman. Post about everything you're doing. Show your day. Show what you like. show you at the gym, show you on your traveling, everything. Let people get a chance to know you. That's the main thing. So you're 20, no money, nothing, no network, start posting and put yourself out there. That's it. Very simple. It's the easiest time. We were doing it when it was hard. Now it's easy.
Guys, don't let this slip you by. If you see this, listen to what Ernesto said. Whatever it is, you don't need to have some professional cinema camera. Pull out your phone, post whatever it is you're into, cooking, drawing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Post it and keep going.
That's it. Because, for example, that kid that I'm talking about, right? That we ended up signing. He was just posting in his kitchen, right? He just was apartment kitchen or whatever, like normal kitchen, nothing crazy. But guess what now? Now he's going to come use our kitchen.
Yeah.
So even his kitchen leveled up, right? So like maybe I'll buy him some better equipment.
Yeah.
And just like that, he already had a little level up. But he started with his phone and a tripod. And I knew that. I'm not thinking these kids that are 23, 24 are going to have a red cam, a cinema cam. They're going to use their phone.
Right.
I'm not judging creators based on their...
I love that. Yeah.
That's the number one thing.
Yeah,
Bro.
I love that.
Maybe we got signed because we had a high quality, but I'll tell everyone for free, that's not what we're looking for. We're not trying to find someone and be like, oh, look how high quality their content is. Like, let's sign them. No, it's about your personality, your willingness, and your drive. That's it. Because I could teach you everything else.
Perfect.
Right?
Fantastic stuff, man. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, obviously, Ernesto Gaita, at Money Buys Happiness, at MBH TV. That's all Instagram. And then from Instagram, you can find links to everything else. And then at Anthony Sorella too. Don't forget Anth.
Perfect. We're going to go ahead and link those in the description below. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your favorite part of the video. Thank you. Thank you again, brother.
Of course, bro. Keep crushing it. Don't stop the pod, bro. Keep going.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.